Freddie Bear in the chat says, good evening, Early Edge fam. Let's get these nuggets on this glorious Monday. Freddie, I couldn't have said it any better myself. What's good, everybody? Welcome into Early Edge Live as we count down to the final game of Week 8. The Bengals on the road in Cleveland to take on the Browns tonight. There's a lot of differing opinions on what could happen, what should happen, but of course, you got the best crew in the entire business breaking it down for you over the course of the next 30 or 40 minutes. Quick breaking news, by the way. The Astros and the Phillies has been postponed, so any bet you have on that game already put in, they will put it back into your account, and they will move that game 3 to Tuesday instead of Monday, so no issues there whatsoever. By the way, shout out to Buckets. He got us off to a really nice 2-0 start earlier today on the morning show, so thank you, Buckets. We will try to keep that rolling here tonight on Monday Night Football. Let's bring in the stars of the show, because you know I love this crew on Monday nights. Let's start with live from parts unknown. And yes, that is a bear in his background. He is Prop Stars. Prop Stars, we've had 8 weeks of the NFL, correct?
Correct.
How many weeks have you been profitable on your props, the Prop Spectacular, Prop Shop, all that? How many weeks?
All 8 weeks, Coach.
What? All 8 weeks you've made money? All 8 weeks.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
If you tailed my picks, if you're a SportsLine subscriber, you would have made money as well. Very happy. Hope to keep that going. I don't want to jinx it. I don't even like acknowledging it. It's like a pitcher pitching a no-hitter or a perfect game. I'd prefer you guys just to ignore this streak that I'm on, but obviously very elated to be doing well. Also, good evening, Cousin Sia. Good evening, Alan Bell. We've got a goose over my left shoulder, a bear over my right shoulder, and I'm ready to talk about this awesome divisional matchup, Coach.
You use the word ignore. Crystal would love to ignore the texts every time they come through when he bangs another prop. Who's texting you all night? That's Prop Stars. He just hit another one. All right, next. He's also had a fantastic week. In fact, we were 27-10 on Sunday, and a big part of that was because of this man. He is the best-looking man in all of the Early Edge universe. Sia Najad. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, I almost went undefeated yesterday. I was an Aaron Jones prop away from going 5-0, but really nice picks against the spread, nice picks with props. I'm excited about this game. I think there's a lot of unknown in this game from a prop standpoint, at least from my standpoint. So I kind of like some sides and totals in this one that I'm going to talk about. And by the way, I've done so much research that, guys, I've actually discovered. Did you know that Ohio has 2 NFL teams? True story. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about all the time. The knowledge you're going to gain on this show is second to none, and it starts right there. That's why he's here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he is here. Now, we still can't figure out why AB is here, but he is Alan Bell, our 5-tool player, live from Nashville, Tennessee, 8 floors below. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, just want to let everybody know, it was a great night at the club last night. Rolled into the janitor's closet about 6 a.m., Saw Prop Stars in there. Would have seen Maestro, but he's in his own VIP area, so he can't hang out, with us common folk. I also want to say it is Halloween, and if any trick-or-treaters come over, because I live in a very residential cul-de-sac, and we're going to have trick-or-treaters. So we're going to put them live on the air. We're actually not going to do that, but there are trick-or-treaters going to come by. The bucket of candy is outside. Take only one, kids. Take only one.
that video was going viral today of the kid who walks into the house, and it's got like the fenced-in porch with the bucket. It says, take one. He takes out his backpack, dumps the whole thing in, flips off the camera, and walks out. Have you seen it?
Like a boss.
It's classic, like a boss. He says, one kid is all that's showing up at this house tonight. All right, let's get started, everybody. If you're in the chat and you like a prop tonight, and there are a ton across the board, a lot of names that have been doing a lot of work, put it into the chat. My guys can answer absolutely anything. If you don't mind, put the juice with it too, because that absolutely matters on whether or not we want to pull the trigger on a prop or stay away. We will do our best bets, our props. We'll do the gem, which is a little fun thing we like to do. If you pick the first touchdown score of the game, that's what AB was just talking about, you get into the fabled club. And currently in the club this season, Prop Stars, Maestro, and AB. See ya. Me and you got some work to do. Me, a lot more than you. All right, let's get into it. Best bets for tonight. And Sia, you said it off the top. You said you like sides, which normally you don't like to do. So I'm very, very interested on which sides that you do like. Start us off.
Yeah, so I'll start with the Browns at home. I mean, I think this is a nice spot for the Browns. We know they've lost a number of games in a row, but they're at home, and they've really played every single game close outside of the Patriots game. Their losses, they lost to the Eagles by 1, the Bears by 1, the Jets by 1, the Falcons by 3, the Chargers by 2, the Ravens by 3. Well, this line is 3.5. So I don't want to just use that trend for this line. I do like the fact that Jamar Chase is out of this game. Obviously, there's injuries on both sides. I mean, there are key injuries for the Browns. Let's say, who was it? Denzel Ward is injured for that game, for this game. Wyatt Teller is injured. Njoku, of course, is injured. But I really think this is going to be a game of back and forth from a running standpoint. I think Mixon is going to be able to establish the running game because the Browns just allow a lot yards per carry wise. And I think obviously Chubb is going to be able to establish himself to some degree as well. I think this is going to be a close game, a close back and forth. And I only mentioned the running part of it because I do think the under is going to come in here as well. So I like the Browns plus 3.5. I love getting the hook there plus 3.5. You're probably having to pay minus 120 for that. I don't mind that at all. But if you can get plus 3.5 at minus 110, more power to you. But I do think without Jamar Chase and without the explosiveness of Jamar Chase, I do think it's a watered down game plan from the Cincinnati side. Can they win? Yeah, they absolutely can win. But I think the Browns can win too. And I think this number is too high. If it was 2.5, I'd back off. But at 3.5, I do like the Browns here, and I do like the under.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. By the way, the money line on the Bengals is about minus 180 if you wanted to take the points out of it. So, Alex, I'm going to come to you now because based off of what Sia just said, I want you to give us your best bet, but I feel like, and I know Jamar Chase is out, when I've watched the Bengals the last 2 weeks, they've gone north of 30, and they've decided no more under center. It's all going to be from the shotgun. I feel like that could still be the game plan tonight, not what Sia said, but what do you say? We could all agree to disagree.
Yeah, so the reason the Bengals have gone north of 30 points over the last 2 weeks is because Zach Taylor has finally kind of taken the reins off of Joe Burrow and this passing offense. We saw early in the season, Cincinnati really trying to establish the run. They were very ineffective doing so, and we saw Joe Mixon have some of the worst inefficiency that we've seen any running back in the NFL this season possess. He's performed better over the last few weeks. I largely think that's a function of this pass game opening up, taking some pressure off of the running game, kind of trickles down to Joe Mixon and allows him to operate better. So I think largely because of the fact that this team has passed a lot more than they were earlier in the season, we're seeing it just function a lot more efficiently all across the board, which leads me to my pick. That is T. Higgins over 74.5 receiving yards. Obviously, a lot of people are going to say, look, no Jamar Chase tonight. Who's the biggest beneficiary? T. Higgins. Yes, that is true to some degree. We should see an uptick in targets. I do want to say there's a lot more that goes into this play, however, than just that. For instance, I do want to point out that Jamar Chase is the most double-teamed player in the NFL this season. So this pick is actually a little bit speculative because we haven't seen T. Higgins operate, getting all that defensive attention. He really benefits from all these double teams that Jamar Chase receives on a weekly basis. So I do like T. Higgins. I'm a big believer in his talent, but it's not just as simple as, no Jamar Chase. That means T. Higgins is going to have a big game. However, this Browns secondary is extremely depleted. Sia mentioned no Denzel Ward, lots of injuries in this secondary. So it's a really good matchup, which is why I like T. Higgins. I'm also a big believer in his talent as well. I think he's good enough to get off in this game. So I expect him to get the uptick in targets, but it is going to be a little bit more difficult or kind of a new thing for him to get all this defensive attention tonight.
Okay, we'll see how that works. As you were talking, gentlemen, we've got some dissension in the ranks in the chat. We'll get to all those props that you're putting in there, I promise you. But let me scroll up here. See ya. It's time to stand up and be counted by Bill. Where is Bill? Here we go. I want a showdown. I've been here since day one, Coach. I'm on the Bengals -3. Let's go, see ya. I'm calling you out. And I already hear the music. I don't know what hit it specs means, but go ahead, Sia. Your response to that.
Couple things here. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Specs is snake. There you go.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, he said -3. I mean, my pick is 3.5. Is he willing to take the 3.5 is my question. I mean, that would be like me saying, I want to challenge somebody in a showdown. Give me the Bengals +4. Like, are you going to use the number that I gave out, or are you going to use a number you just casually chose? I
guess I would challenge you by saying the number I'm staring at right now at 2 books is 3.
Well,
If
I'm
you
not
can
betting.
find
I'm not betting at those books.
What
Which
a
books are
legal
you bet?
answer.
Which book
What a
are you
legal
betting at?
answer right there. That was solid.
The 3.5, I believe, was on FanDuel, and I can pull it up right now, but I believe it was at
Pull it up
FanDuel
right now. See what it is right now.
at
Let's see what
minus
it is.
120.
I love real-time betting. I love real-time live betting. Let's see what FanDuel said. If it
I
is,
see
you see?
3.5.
okay, he sees 3.5. So, Bill, that is the call out. If you want it at 3.5, that's the bet. Put it into the chat. No, he didn't waste any time. He wasted no time. He said, "I'll take it at 3.5."
Bill,
So
It's all that smoke.
the question: are you in, or are you out?
Well, Bill, I haven't lost a showdown since the Nixon administration. So he was a president, by the way. Bill, I am absolutely happy to take your showdown. I admire your courage, and I will be sending you my Venmo in approximately 3 hours and 10 minutes.
It's gonna be a showdown.
All right, Bill, here's what I need you to do. I need you to put your Twitter handle into the chat for me, please, so we can get a hold of you afterwards. Here are the rules. It's a $100 bet. As you know, if you've been here since day one, it's paid before midnight. And if it's not paid before midnight, you are shut out of showdowns moving forward in the early edge universe. That is the rule. No exceptions made. Unless you don't have Venmo, which happened before once. It actually did happen once. All right, AB, I know you've been sitting on these two picks for about 5 minutes. I would love nothing more than for you to enlighten us, please, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, so we got 2 plays for tonight. All right, so first off, we're going to go with the Browns team total over 20.5. I like that we're getting it under 21. 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points. That's all we need. I think that the Browns get there tonight. Could be a weird game. There's a lot of ways that this thing could go down, but give me 3 Browns touchdowns. We get there. Not to mention, Browns, sorry, I'm going to do it too. No fly zone is in effect tonight with Jacoby Brissett. Over half an interception, minus 120. Now, I think that a lot of people are going to play the Joe Burrow, over half an interception. I don't hate it, but Brissett is the play here. So we're going Brissett over half an interception. Browns team total over 20.5. And would anybody like a nugget? Would you like a nugget on this game?
Always.
So the referee crew tonight is going to be handled by our man, friend of the show, Big Bill Vinovich and his crew, okay? Bill Vinovich, by far, throws the least amount of flags. They let him play. They let the game go. They like points to go. There you go. I'm just saying, Vinovich lets him go. You don't see a bunch of holding. Let's stop this. Let's bring him back. He lets the dogs run. So there you go.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, history was made last night on the early edge. We cashed 2 interception props on back-to-back plays. That was crazy. That was crazy. All right, so those are our best bets. In addition to that, the Maestro gave these out earlier today. He loves Nick Chubb to run wild tonight, over 81.5 rush yards. He wanted to play his longest rush, but a lot of books didn't even have it anymore because he's cashed it 11 of the last 12 games. Then also he's on Joe Burrow over 263.5 passing yards at minus 113. Alex, let me come back to you because obviously the question in the chat is going to come right back to Tyler Boyd on the other side. His number, I believe, is 58.5. Then also, what would you play your Higgins up to? They're all also asking those 2 things.
I'd play Higgins up to about 76.5. As far as Tyler Boyd goes, I've been encouraged with Tyler Boyd. Looked really good over the last few weeks. Again, he benefits a lot from the attention that both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins command. So this is kind of going to be a new role for him. So I do like Tyler Boyd. I just think that the targets are going to be more funneled to T. Higgins. So obviously I'm playing T. Higgins. So I'm not opening pieces on multiple receivers as far as Bengals playmakers go.
That's probably smart because when you start to do 1, 2, the only ones that we don't do that on is Waddle and Tyreek Hill because they both cash all the time. See, let me come back to you because you think the Bengals will go back to the running game tonight. And the last time we played the under on Joe Mixon, we got burnt, admittedly so. His rushing number is 67.5. His combo number is 92.5.
Yeah, so I think I like the over there on the rushing yards. It's not a play I'm willing to take, but I do think, listen, this is a Cleveland Browns team that allows 5 yards per carry. That's good for 27th in the league. So I do think, especially without Jamar Chase, I think you're going to lean on Joe Mixon a lot more. It's hard for me to anticipate what he's going to get in the passing game because while Samaje Perine doesn't get the rushing attempts, he does get some passing work. He's gotten, I believe, 2, 4, and 4 targets over the last 3 games. So I'm not interested in the total prop, the rushing and receiving, but I am somewhat interested in the rushing. By the way, just correction, silly mistake by me from the standpoint of the losses, the very close losses. All the ones I said are true, but I included a couple preseason games in there. So just to let the record reflect, their close losses include a 1-point loss to the Jets, a 3-point loss to the Falcons, a 2-point loss to the Chargers, and a 3-point loss to the Ravens. Those are their close losses. They are, let's see, they got 2 wins. This is a must win for them for sure.
No doubt about it. And also, when you just look at it, whether they win or lose, they would have covered this number plus 3.5 in all but one game. Mm-hmm. They lost 38-15 to the Patriots. Every other game, the Browns would have covered this number this year. Real quick, Mixon's longest rush is over 13.5, I believe they said. Do you even like those kind of plays since you were talking about Mixon there?
I actually do kind of like those plays. If you recall that Brian Robinson under that I hit, I had a lean in that video that we put out Saturday afternoon on the SportsLine Twitter page. I had a lean to Brian Robinson's under 13.5 longest rush as well, which came in very easily. By the way, he only had 20 total yards in that game, I believe, from a rushing standpoint. So I kind of like Mixon's over here, but I'm not willing to touch it. My point is I do like betting these sometimes, and I think Mixon probably does eclipse this for the longest rush, but it's not something I'm willing to take.
They may go, and I think that's smart because they may go out tonight and just say, we're going to pass it every single down because of the defensive backfield being out of it. Now, on the Brown side, Alex, let me come back to you. They've got a really dynamic, at times, athletic tight end, Donovan Peoples-Jones. They're asking in the chat. His number is 43.5. Make sure I have it right, over 3.5 minus 107 are his 2 numbers. Do you like him for Jacoby Brissett tonight?
Not particularly. I think this is going to largely be a Nick Chubb game. I think Nick Chubb is going to get a ton of work. I think the Browns are going to run the ball consistently. I think there's really just not enough passing volume in Cleveland's passing attack to really support more than 1 or 2 guys. Obviously, no David Njoku tonight. I do expect Amari Cooper to sort of function as that number 1 guy. So, I just don't really have a lot of confidence just because of the volume not really being there in Cleveland pass catchers outside of really Amari Cooper tonight.
And an interesting chat question on Kareem Hunt. And I'm sure, and it's a little late for DFS, but it certainly could help next week. He's been rumored to be traded. And his numbers tonight, combos see a 52.5. His rushing number is 37.5. We know Chubb's the main guy, but Kareem Hunt does get some play. But it's juiced plus 159. So they think he's not going to get a lot of play tonight. Do you think that is the reason why?
So I see Kareem Hunt's rushing number at 32.5, and it's juiced slightly to the over. I believe a few hours ago that was 34.5. Just FYI, because that was something I was looking at because we're really not sure what his status is going to be. We have another day till the trade deadline comes here. So I kind of like the unders on Kareem Hunt, including his rushing yards.
All right. I'm just going to double check my book because I just wrote these down like 20 minutes before the show, and maybe my book hasn't caught on yet. Let's go. I still have it at 37.5, but it's juice minus 201. It's minus 201.
Oh, okay. Because
so
at DraftKings,
really juicy.
At DraftKings, it's 32.5 currently.
That makes more sense. AB, go.
Yep. Want to answer a couple questions here in the chat. First off, everybody hit the like button. We are at 277. We have to get to 500 at minimum. So smash that right now. We've got 1,100 people watching. We can take care of that there. All right. First off, people are bringing up kickers. Okay.
Yes.
These 2 coaches are insane in terms of 4th downs and all the decisions that they make. Be careful with it. I'm not saying they can't hit. I'm not playing them for a reason. I'm also not playing punts for a reason. That number is really low tonight as well, and it probably hits. But again, these 2 coaches are insane on 4th down, so just be careful with any of those. Also, wanted to bring up a little trivia question for everybody, okay? It's a nugget, a trivia question. The Cincinnati Bengals have not allowed a touchdown in the second half this season. Not one.
Really?
You know the last time that happened? 1934 Lions through 7 games. They haven't allowed one this season, so pay attention to that.
Maybe we should play those second half team totals that you've been hitting the last few days for the Bengals in the second, depending on what it is. As Cheshire Cat says, oh, yeah, AB. That's kind of what I was thinking, too. That's kind of what I was thinking, too.
Stat. Like, it's an insane stat. Yeah.
That's true. Alex, let me come back to you because Sia brought up a name that the numbers are extremely, extremely low, almost scary low. And I'm talking about Samaje Perine. Here are his numbers tonight. Over 9.5 rushing, -109. Over 21.5 combo, -120. Then he even has a number on catching, over 1.5, -133, and over 10.5, -113. It seems easy, but it isn't always, is it?
No, it's not. Plus, he's more suited for when a potential game script where Cincinnati's going to be trailing, obviously 3-point favorites, seems like it's going to be a pretty competitive game environment. I think really only you can kind of he's best utilized, in my opinion, if you're going to take his props. If, for instance, the Bengals are going to be significant underdogs, because that scenario, he's going to be on the field more. In a neutral game environment or one where they're favored, I don't think he's going to be on the field enough to confidently bet his props.
Okay. We do have a question, AB. McPherson is money. Why wouldn't they kick in a close game? Probably why their records are bad.
Yeah, their coach is an insane person. Like, that's the answer to the question. Like, he's the second best kicker in the game, and they have the exact same scenario situation that the Ravens do, that you can, while every other team has to play 100 yards, you only have to play 60, and they don't take advantage of it, ever. I have no idea why, but yeah, like, it's crazy, man.
All right. Well, where are we at on likes right now? Because we're about 5 minutes from the top of the hour. This show is flying already because there's so many things to talk about. But if you're brand new to the show, what's that? 4:30. All right, we need 70 more likes. And why do we need those 70 likes? Well, it really helps the show grow, but also you got to earn the donkey tonight. You got to earn the goose tonight. If you want to play the gym, put in a first touchdown score at +1,000 or higher into the chat, and you could get into the club too and hang out with AB and Prop Stars. And Maestro, apparently he has his own corner. I don't know what he's doing over there, but he says, I was in my own spot. Didn't even see AB in the club last night. That's what he said this morning on the show. He said, didn't even see him. What kind of a VIP section were you guys in last night? You didn't see each other.
He must
Too
have
much
been
Manischewitz.
Yeah, he must have been in some crazy corner because we were all over that club last night. It was Shot City, son.
All right, I want to tack the over because when I came into the show tonight, I was convinced that I was going to play the over, despite the fact that last night Aaron Rodgers is my new least favorite player of all time. Dumbest game plan ever after you're down 17. But I feel like I want to go back there tonight and then see a bust out the under at 45.5. So, AB, let's start with you. Tell me why, after scoring 30 the last 2 weeks, they would change the game plan and slow things up tonight.
Yeah, like I honestly, like, I don't think so. Like, I like the over as well. Like, I think that there are going to be points tonight, and I think that if we get a game script that is severely low on penalties, like, I roll with it, man. Like, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I like the over here.
Alex, go.
Yeah, I think it's ultimately going to come down to, in my opinion, what Zach Taylor decides to do with this Bengals offense. If he elects to go run heavy, then I do think the under is very likely in play. There are certainly some trends or data points that would suggest that he could go run heavy, being that Cleveland is one of the biggest run funnels in the NFL. So if Cincinnati elects to go run heavy, and we also know Cleveland's going to be run heavy regardless of their opponent, then I definitely think the under is in play. However, we've seen them shift recently, and this might have something to do with the opponents they were playing, the Falcons being a good example of a pass funnel. But I just think Burrow looks a lot better when he's able to throw the ball with more volume, opening up this offense. To me, it trickles down to Joe Mixon, allows him to be a lot more efficient. So I just think it really will be dictated whether this over or under hits based on Zach Taylor's offensive game plan.
Yes, AB.
Coach, we have our man, Matt Ray, in the chat, who's been here since day one. All right. And early in the chat, it's too far ahead. I'm not going to scroll and find it. But essentially what he said was this: Coach, I have been here from day one. I want a showdown. I've never had to have one. I want to feel it. Let me get in on it tonight. So our man says he'll take the over. Now, I just said that I like the over as well. But, Matt, I will show down you, and I'll take the under. Coach, you make the official call. Is that good?
I think that's good because, and the number we're going to use, because this is the number I'm staring at, especially if we have a second showdown in a second, is 45, not 45.5.
I'll take that.
So the number's 45, and if your man in the chat still wants a showdown with AB, it's 45. See ya. How do you feel about that 45 number?
Well, I'm looking just at DraftKings right now. It was universally 45.5. It looks like it has gone down to 45 because the sports books are watching this show and they understand my logic and respect it. Totally get it. So I would be willing to go 45 as well as a hat tip to the sports books.
AB, have we ever played the music for 2 showdowns at the same time?
We have not. Now, here's the question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Matt Ray says, actually, I wanted Sia because he was confident, but I am in. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Sia, it is now you and Matt. What me and Coach are going to do, okay, is that, Coach, do you like the over or the under? You like the over, right?
I love the over, yes.
Okay, if Coach, me and Coach's showdown is going to be this, it's going to help the chat regardless,
Okay.
all right? If the over hits, you're going to get a merch pack picked out directly from Coach. If the under hits, you're going to get a merch pack picked out directly from me.
Oh,
So
I
drop
like
your
that.
Twitter handles in there right now for me and Coach's. And then Matt, see, he has put you on the mat.
Wow. I think this is history again. We've never had one of my experts, one of the crew members, 2 showdowns with the chat. Are you sure, Sia, you don't want
Oh,
3?
a triple 3 times?
Would you
I mean,
would you want a 3?
Do I want to be 3 times as much rich or 2 times as much rich? I think 3 times is the natural progression of things. Let's go ahead and fill up my Venmo account. I don't mind at all. And for the record, before we play the music, you guys are talking about game plan, and I understand that, and I understand their efficiency operating out of the shotgun. You know what changes game plans? Not Zach Taylor, Jamar Chase not being on the field. That changes game plans, plus Cleveland being a run funnel. So that's sort of where I'm going with this under. I think both teams are going to be able to run and pepper the middle of the field, especially because Cincinnati is actually pretty good against boundary receivers as well. So I think a lot of this is going to be running and just short area passes in the middle of the field on both sides of the ball.
You know what's going to happen, right? It's going to be 24-21 is what's going to happen. That's what it's going to. We're all going to be like, really? Nobody gets to talk trash? All right, maybe the first time. No, it is the first time that anybody's ever taken. And I respect it. I respect it. 3 showdowns. So for Matt, what was the other name? Matt, Bill, and Coach. AB, hit the music.
It's gonna be a showdown.
And for
It's gonna be a showdown.
and for
I just had to do it. Yeah, I wasn't going to do it a third time. It didn't do it.
that would have been great, though. That'd have been great. Oh, and somebody in the chat, I think it was, I'll get to you, Alex, real quick. He said, doesn't Coach lose all these? No, I don't lose all these showdowns. I don't. Last couple I have. Alex, what do you got, big boy?
Can I get in on the fun here? Who wants to challenge me to a showdown?
But what would all right, so anybody want a piece of Alex tonight? He's on T. Higgins over 74.5 receiving
Or
yards.
throw something out there. Maybe I'll take the other side. You know what I mean?
Okay, so hey, in the chat, just throw a bet that you like. If you want to challenge the greatest prop bettor in America, head up right here live on the Early Edge, the #1 betting show in America. Hey, you got the chance. You got the chance. Put it in there. Alex will pick it, and then we'll have a showdown with
Please make it a running back receiving yards. Please.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah, Alex loves receiver props for running backs. It's his favorite bet. It's his favorite bet. All right, so we've got a few in here. All right, DPJ over 42.5. Nick Chubb over 81. Todd says pass. I don't want that smoke is what he said. I want no part of prop stars. Straight to the pay window, cash online. Oh, okay.
So anybody, I'll offer Higgins if anybody wants this under. I like Nick Chubb tonight as well. So if anybody wants to fade Nick Chubb, I will take Chubb's over. So just throwing that out there. T. Higgins over 74. If you want the under, it's open to anybody. And same with Nick Chubb's rushing yards. I will take his over if anybody wants to fade him.
All right, either one of those, write in the chat, Proppy, I want the smoke. And we'll know that you want him, and he'll keep an eye on it because we have now crossed the top of the hour. We have 3 very, very important things we got to do before do we got one?
It looks like we got somebody who wants to fade Higgins. There we go.
All fade Higgins, bald and breezy.
Bald breezy.
Says all fade Higgins. All right, bald and breezy. Throw your Twitter handle into the chat so we have a way of getting a hold of you. You guys all know the rules. Pay before midnight or you gone. All right, now. This is a lot of fun tonight. All right, so we got to do the goose. We got to do the donkey. We have to do the gym all in the next 12 minutes. So we got to get to it. So I know that M Squared is not here tonight, but he didn't leave you high and dry. We've got a nice little donkey same game parlay for you. AB, if you don't mind, let's throw it up there and see what he is working with tonight. And by the way, he had a chance to make a 6-figure day yesterday. That's how good M Squared is in putting these together. 9 picks plus 1,300. It is robust for the early edge. Cleveland Browns plus 13.5. Bengals plus 6.5. Joe Burrow over 229.5. Joe Mixon over 49.5 rush yards. Nick Chubb over 69.5 rush yards. Amari Cooper over 39.5 receiving yards. Joe Mixon, we're going to go over 19.5 receiving yards. Mike Thomas over 19.5 receiving yards. And T. Higgins over 64.5 receiving yards. I'd be very careful with those of you who want the showdown. Mikey's got a few of those names in the donkey. Can I get some music?
Of course you can, Coach. Of course you can.
Don't you feel like it's like a who's
I feel like I'm watching Back to the Future 3 again every time I do that, All right, so that is the donkey, but we need another one. How about the goose? Give it to me, Alex.
We've got the goose
Playoffs?
for the people. First up, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals to score at least 17 points tonight. The Browns to score at least 14 points tonight. Jacoby Brissett to throw for fewer than 270 passing yards. Joe Burrow to throw for over 230 passing yards. T. Higgins, our guy, over 65 receiving yards. And Tyler Boyd to have at least 45 receiving yards. Put it all together, plus 340 for the baby goose.
All right, Dave in the chat says, is anyone here able to do the donkey with an offshore book? Offshore?
No.
What are those? Offshore? What are you talking about, Dave? Offshore book? We don't even know what those are here at the early edge.
Yeah, I've never.
You can't.
Yeah, I've never heard of those, but also no.
All right, so that's the donkey. That's the goose. Where's Alex's music? AB's just sitting there.
Wait, Alex has music?
The Undertaker. It's so great.
I'll give you a second dog right there. There you go.
Don't ever say that again.
Yep,
all right,
you're right.
so
Yep, knew as soon as I said it. It was not a good move. Hey, you know what also is good? When you make mistakes and you also produce the show, you just cut that right out.
all right. Oh my God, I love doing this so much. Oh my gosh. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We have 3 people in the club this year, and and I need tonight. I need it. If I ever needed something, I need it tonight. So if you're brand new to the show, we have a big audience watching tonight. So there's a few of you who are brand new. Welcome, first of all. This is one of the fun bets we like to make, predicting the first touchdown of the game. It's got to be plus 1,000 or higher because Nick Chubb is just too easy. So we start with those who are in the club, and then we work our way down. So, Alex, you were the first one after the maestro to get into the club this year. So you, sir, without Mikey here, you have the right to go first. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Coach. We are going with Kareem Hunt. I think he is potentially going to get traded. So I do think he potentially maybe showcase a little more. I also think there's a good chance that Nick Chubb goes for like a 60-yard run, and then he gets off the field because he needs a spell, and then Kareem Hunt plunges into the end zone. So going with our guy, Kareem Hunt, plus 1,400 odds.
It's so rare to see you go with a long shot, Alex. It really, really is. All right. Now he is fresh off being in the club. In fact, he got up this morning and said, you know what? I don't even want to shave today. It was such a hard night in the club last night. But do you think he's backing down? Do you think he's not greedy? Do you think he doesn't want to make history tonight and become the first crew member ever to cash 2 nights in a row? I think he does. AB, you're up.
Yes, sir. Look, I'll tell you what. The people at the bar told me if we go back-to-back, I get free shots all night tonight. So that's exactly what we're going to do. What we're also going to do, we've got your Twitter handles in the chat. If we go back-to-back, I will send out 5 Early Edge merch packs tonight. I'll mail them out tomorrow and send you a picture with my man Ricky over there at the post office. But what we're going with tonight is simple, man. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Look, we're Try to be part of the people. Try to be a man of the people. Donovan Peoples-Jones, no one better than that, plus 1,900. If that cashes, yep.
I feel like you have a guy everywhere. That's what I feel like. You kind of have a guy everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I would love to say I'm going to go next, but the rules are the rules, and this man has cashed in the history of the show 3 times. See you, Najad. You're up.
Yeah, so I've been talking about how these teams, I think, are going to run the ball and they're going to pepper the middle of the field. And we've got a guy in this game that probably should be lower odds than what he's at. He's plus 1,900, but he's taking the spot of David Njoku. Now, he is not the guy, the player that David Njoku is, but he is kind of emerging. He had a nice offseason. He had a nice preseason. And I think Harrison Bryant is due for one of those middle area short targets from his quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. So I really like Harrison Bryant at plus 1,900. I think this number is higher than it should be, frankly. I think it should be in the plus 1,500, 1,600 range. Give me Harrison Bryant.
You know what? I'm also going to go with a big-time tight end receiver type of thing. I knew you were going to go with the Browns guy. See, I could have predicted it. I'm going to go with the team that I think is going to win the game tonight, and that is Hayden Hurst. For all the reasons we've talked about, no Jamar Chase. So when you get down inside the 10, who is Joe Burrow going to look for? He's going to look for a big boy camping down in the end zone. And just like last night, as Josh Allen is running to the left, we're like, he's going to run in, and then he pulls up, and Dawson Knox is wide open in the end zone. I literally ran around my living room screaming, no! My kids are like, what's going on? Don't worry about it. It's not important. And tonight, that's going to be me. So give me Hayden Hurst at plus 1,100, a very prop stars-esque pick. Now, Jake the Snake, Amari Cooper, that's a name you know, plus 1,100 for our resident producer extraordinaire. All right, now quickly, we have about 5 minutes. Let's go through our best bets one more time and get the hell out of Dodge so people have a final chance to get these plays in. Prop stars, go.
T. Higgins over 74.5 receiving yards. No Jamar Chase. I expect an uptick in targets. I also believe that T. Higgins is an elite alpha wide receiver 1, and that will be on full display tonight.
All right, and Maestro's on Nick Chubb over 81.5 rush yards. Joe Burrow over 263.5 in the air. See ya, go.
Give me the Browns at home plus 3.5. They've kept almost all of their games very close. Their losses have been very close. This is a must win for them. And I think without Jamar Chase, it really handicaps the Cincinnati Bengals. So give me the Browns plus 3.5 and the Bengals-Browns under 45.5. We're going to see a lot of runs. I think we're going to see a couple field goals here and there. And for the record, I do think the Browns will be able to get to, with Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett, I do think they will be able to get to Joe Burrow and stop some drives that way as well.
I'm waiting for 24-21, then a late safety to go 26-21 and cash by 2. AB, talk to me.
Yes, sir. We're going with the Browns team total over 20.5 tonight, as well as Jacoby Brissett over half an interception.
What would you say to those people that have 21 at their books for the Browns?
Yeah, I like 21. I mean, you've got push insurance there. 21.5, don't do it. 21, stay right there.
That's a big difference, 21 and 21.5. There's no doubt about it. A big thank you to the chat tonight. You guys have been amazing. So active all the time. You're coming here. You're giving us your time. And it wouldn't be any fun if we were laughing just with ourselves. So thank you all for taking the time. Every show is big now, and we can't thank you enough. So for those of you who are every single night, you know I like to end every one of my shows asking my experts, what's the number one most important thing they're looking forward to tonight to use it for tonight or maybe into the future? Alex, start us off.
I'm interested to see this Bengals offense. Do they decide to tilt more towards the pass or more towards the run? We saw them score 30-plus points in the previous 2 weeks. I expect them to pass the ball more than run tonight, so interested to see this offense.
All right, very good. AB, talk to me.
Yes, sir. So we've got 2 AFC North division opponents that play each other twice a year, correct? Here's your
Correct.
last nugget of the night. Joe Burrow's never beaten the Browns. Not one time. Let's see if he does it tonight.
All right, that does not affect my over, so I don't care about that nugget, but thank you for making me feel worse. All right, see, other than the fact that you're going to ultimately be working for free tonight, what are you looking forward to, sir?
Well, I'll tell you what, you thank the audience for just dialing in and listening, and we had such a big audience. I want to thank them too, but not just for listening and watching and maybe laughing with us. Thank you for your donations to me, to my Venmo account tonight. Coach, I'm looking at you. Bill, I'm looking at you. And Matt, I'm looking at you. So Matt and Coach, I've got the under to your over 45. And Bill, I believe me and you are the 3.5. I've got the Browns plus 3.5. So I appreciate all of you that are willing to donate to me. It feels very good.
God, I don't know who the biggest savage in the early edge universe is, but C is right up there.
It's
I
like
think
a $500 night for Sia tonight.
Exactly. It's like, hey, who knew? Between RJ and C, I don't know who's a bigger savage, but both are killers. All right. That's all the damage that we can do. The game starts in about 3 minutes, so enjoy it tonight. Let's cash those tickets. Remember, we're here every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And every single night there is an NFL game, we've got a live show for you. So turn on those notifications. You don't miss 1 second of our content when we ship it out to you. And damn it, do we love doing it? We truly, truly do. And with that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, damn it, do I love them all. Prop stars, Sia, AB on the ones and the twos, and dropping Chick-fil-A nuggets all over the place. For the chat, I'm the coach. If you're watching tonight and you're just not sure, now you're sure. This is the Early Edge. Good luck.